For the last 2 years, I've been doing finance coaching. And part of how this journey started in the first place is that I wanted to give a better future for my family, for my kids. And I began to go into finances and I began to watch videos on YouTube and I began to begin this journey of my personal finances. And that eventually led me to wanting to desire a better future for others, wanting to help others because people started asking me what were the things that I was personally doing. So I started going through a training where I got certification and I started doing finance coaching and training people and coaching people to improve their finances. But one of the things that was consistently a struggle in this whole process is the reality of the fact that I was training people and I was taking out my personal time to train people that are in a rough situation as it is and trying to, in my part, I have to take out my time charging for these people to hire me as a coach in order to for their future to be improved. The struggle there is, of course, they're going through a struggle themselves. So it's very difficult for me as a finance coach to be able to get people to train them. Now, I will say this. I was able to train all groups of people from different professions, for different social classes in the aspect of how much money they were making. And when I sat down and thought about it after years and years of coaching, I had to think about what is it that I wanted to continue doing with my future, with my time. As much as finance coaching is something I love to do, as much as finance coaching is something I have been to a certain level of successful doing because I have been able to help people change their complete future, the reality is that one of the aspects of finance coaching that is very difficult is the part that I just mentioned, which is getting people to sign up for it. And one of the things I had to think for myself was how can I best begin to, in the future, impact society and not only impact society, but also make the best time out of my personal time, make the best out of my personal time. And I had to think about it. And honestly, I hit a wall because finance coaching is very difficult. Again, you're trying to deal with people that are thousands and thousands of dollars in debt and trying to get them to sign up to pay you for you to coach them on finances when they're trying to pay off their debt in the first place. Now, I will say there's still a place for coaching. I do think that 100%, if people really open their eyes and realize how beneficial finance coaching is, that they would sign up for it more. But it's hard to lead people to see how beneficial finance coaching is when they themselves are deep, deep, deep into a financial problem. All they want is a breath of fresh air. And here comes another finance coach. Here comes another person trying to convince them that this is the best way to do things. While I do think that a good, honest finance coach is usually the best way to go about your finances, especially if you're struggling and you don't know about finances. At the same time, I understand the struggle of not wanting to sign up for something and pay for something that at the end of the day is going to take away from your budget that's going to allow you to get ahead in your finances. Now, I love to tell this story, but it's the story of one of the clients that I was able to work with and I was able to coach. And I was able to work with her for a while. And this single mom was really struggling in her finances. I was able to see her go from not having any extra money practically at all, maybe a few dollars, to being able to save up, several hundreds of dollars on a monthly basis. And that may not be a big win for many of us, but it is a big win in her situation. The situation of single moms, which honestly I have a huge heart for. When I was able to see her situation and situations like hers, it made me just want to work with these people more. It made me just get more of a passion for finance coaching because you're able to really change people's lives. You're able to really help people completely make a flip on their finances. And this is one of my favorite stories when it comes to finance coaching. And I'm always going to treasure these things. I'm always going to hold them close to me. But again, I have to sit down. I have to think, is this what I want to do going forward? Do I want to continue doing this? And as much as a part of me does, there's also a part of me that wants to impact the most in my community. Now, part of what leads me to this whole thing is the whole thing I've been talking about regarding finance coaching. And as much as I love one-to-one personal finance coaching, I started to think, where can I impact my community most? And I started to think about my own father, who's a business owner, my brother, that's a business owner, and they own a mechanic shop. I was beginning to think about them and beginning to think about my roots in itself, but also how can I impact my community the most? Honestly, what led me to this is I can finance coach these business owners, and not only finance coach them, but more than anything, I can be someone that could change their operations, because a lot of these businesses around this area are genuinely struggling with being able to just want to breathe. With business owners that are just like me, but much older, right? 50-year-old Hispanics, 60-year-old Hispanics that are dying to just retire, and that just want their shop, or that just want their HVAC or plumbers out there that just want their business to be more organized, for them to be able to breathe better, for the business to not just pull all of their time and hours of time that they're so tired of giving. So I began to think about this, and I said to myself, what if I could not only finance coach these people, right? But at the same time, I can help them change their business completely. And that led me to realizing that there's an aspect of me personally that loves improving systems. So I sat down, I looked at what I had it for before me, and I began to go into this journey where not only as a someone that's a business owner and that has been doing this whole Santos Financial thing for quite a few months, and honestly finance coaching for more than 2 years. What I began to think about is my entrepreneurial journey, and how, yes, finance coaching is the thing that I have been doing, but I have to be able to realize when I've hit a ceiling in my journey with a specific business, and when it's time to maybe pivot. And I've realized that now is the time for pivoting for me. It's time for me to be able to explore different aspects of my personal growth in the past 2 years. Being someone that's now in marketing as my full time job, I was able to see another aspect of me that I love to do. I love to market. I love to be able to work on operations, because that's part of what marketing is, right? Improving the system that you have before you, improving the ad and going back and improving it, and comparing it and trying to do A and B testing, which is what we call in marketing, and improving that ad, for example. So what is it that I want to say along this? What I want to say is that my journey in the past 2 years has been a beautiful one with finance coaching, and I'm not throwing that away, and neither am I just going to ignore that or forget that. I still want to work with finance coaching to a certain extent, but I also want to be able to grow in this time. I want to be able to see the amount I've grown and apply it. So I want to sit down. I want to be with business owners. I want to help their operations. I want to help people like my own father that are struggling, that want to get out there, that want to improve in their business, in their personal business, and be able to help them reach another level, right? They're in a ceiling, just like I was talking about my finance coach. I want to help them get to that other next level where their business is thriving, is improving by such a large amount. And part of why I'm able to do this is because, again, I've been working for years now with finance coaching. I know how a business, to look at the profit and loss statements in a business, but also to look at the business and to see how to improve their systems. Because, like, again, I've naturally been good at that, and marketing has even just refined that aspect of me much more. Now, I'll be honest, this video came with a lot of hesitation for me personally, because the reality is that when you have been posting, let's say on social media for months now that I've been doing, and I've been posting about finance coaching and telling people how to improve, how to budget, how to maybe invest, how to look into retirement, to improve their finances. And I'm teaching people how to do these things, when out of nowhere now you're beginning to feel a change personally, because that's kind of what entrepreneurship does in you. It improves you. It challenges you, right? Because you begin to realize things about yourself that you maybe hadn't realized before. Why? Because you're realizing that you're not as consistent as you thought you were. And you realize it in your business. You realize it in the social media and in the aspects that you do in the background of what you're doing with your business. And I was able to improve in certain different aspects of myself. And I was beginning to change in these past few months that I began to own this business called Santos Financial. And I began to pivot. I began to realize my heart was beginning to change. And there's a challenge behind that. Again, you want to seem consistent, right? You're so afraid and worried about your public image on social media that you don't want to seem like this guy that's just inconsistent. And that was part of my personal challenge. But I had to say to myself, if my heart is beginning to pivot in this aspect, if my mind is beginning to change and beginning to go elsewhere, then what am I to do? Am I to leave the finance coaching? Am I to go into this different thing? What am I supposed to do? And I just had to sit down and just wanted to talk about it in these few minutes. And I hope that you could hear my heart in this. Change is not always a bad thing. It's sometimes very much a good thing. It can be a bad thing. I'm not saying otherwise. But the reality is that when you, for those out there that are in the entrepreneurship journey and that are wanting to start a business, be open to change, be open to be willing to, say, hey, at this point, this business is not the business I'm going to continue doing. It's not what's working for me. It's not what's going to produce me money. And if your business is not producing you money, then ultimately that is a massive part of why you're doing what you're doing, right? The finance coaching hit a ceiling for me in that aspect because it's very hard to get leads that in the end of the day and close clients and at the end of the day are going through a rough situation personally. Now, I will say I'm always open to being able to help people. I'm always open to give advice. And I'm probably still going to give finance advice because my heart is still there. But my heart in this entrepreneurial journey has honestly began to shift into this other world where I'm working more business to business. That's what we would call it in marketing. And I'm working more business to business and helping business owners that are struggling, that can really impact my community even more because they're the ones giving work to other people, right? We hear it all the time. Small businesses are the backbone of this country. So I look back and I say, this is where I can impact my community. I can help them organize their finances, not mix the business and personal aspect of things. I can help them generate more leads. I can help them organize the operational aspects of their work, of their job, of their mechanic shop, of their plumbing shop, of their HVAC system, whatever it is that whoever I help with, this is part of what I want to do. I want to help them and I want to be able to at the same time listen to my heart and just shift. Again, part of the entrepreneurship journey means that you're going to look at data, you're going to look at what's going on around you, and you're going to have to shift to it. And you're going to have to be open to that. You're going to have to be willing to do that. So I want you to understand what Santos Financial is to be doing. Santos Financial is evolving. It's something that I've always said since the beginning. I want this to be a business that could evolve. Like I tell my wife, she's currently studying for psychology. I tell her one day, if you open a practice, that could be part of Santos' strategy. That's that's the other name that I kind of came up with. So if this is to happen, if this is to become bigger in the aspect of maybe this becomes this whole business to business aspect that I'm talking about, and if my wife maybe were to open a clinical practice or she's counseling or being a therapist, that's the whole point of what Santos Financial is to do. Yeah, although right now it is more finance, obviously working and helping businesses in the future generate more leads and generate more money. I do want Santos Financial Strategy to be able to be a business that impacts its community, that impacts people. I want it to be a community that gives back to those who helped me so much, like my father, who was a business owner. My first job was in that business, helping him with the phone and just, different things that I did around the shop. And I want to go back to that. And I love this part of what I'm able to do now and being able to work with these communities, being able to help my own father with his business, which is one of the things that I'm starting to do right now. And I want to be able to teach people about money. I want to be able to help people, but at the same time, I want to be able to help systems. I want to be able to tune into that aspect of myself where I love being able to improve systems, where I love being able to improve and be more efficient, help people be more efficient. So it's a little bit about my heart, a little bit about this journey that I've been going on with finance coaching and with Santos Financial Strategy. And part of what I want to be able to say with this message is to those entrepreneurs out there, to those people that want to start a business and maybe haven't started a business, to those who are starting a business, don't be closed to changing. I always hear this all the time from one of the people I hear a lot, Alex Hormozy, and many different entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs say the first business you start with is many times not the business you're going to get rich with. Now, I'm not necessarily in the journey of being super rich. I would like to be a certain level of wealthy, but my heart in the end of the day is that you have to be open to change. And that's not only in entrepreneurship, that's everything in life. So in even those that are not entrepreneurs, even those that have no desire to be an entrepreneur, be willing to change, be open to it, and accept the process. Accept that you're being molded, that you're being changed, and that God is doing something greater in you. So again, for those who are hearing me, be open to change, be willing to listen to your heart, to your mind, to what God is calling you to do, and impact the community, transform your community, and likewise be willing to mold and be molded at the same time in your life. All right. This is Santos Financial Strategy. It's your path to freedom, and I would love to be able to hear your opinions on all of this. So comment below, subscribe if this caught your attention by any chance. And again, change is not always a bad thing. Many times it is very much a good thing.